Okay, thank you very much for coming. I'm Dan. I'm a software engineer at Bloomberg and a leader of Bloomberg's Java and JVM Guild. And I'm here today to tell you how Bloomberg uses Eclipse Temurin to power our enterprise Java software. So what is Bloomberg? If you don't know, Bloomberg is a software company serving the financial services industry. We are, over 40 years old. And our main mission is to keep our products reliable for our clients, as well as deliver new and exciting products to our clients. So Bloomberg is known for the Bloomberg Terminal. The Bloomberg Terminal is this thing you see here. It's a GUI interface application, but we also have programmatic interfaces with which our clients can often interact. So what we provide via the terminal and other interfaces are data, analytics, trading platforms and systems, and news. So for a company like Bloomberg that's been in business for 40 years and is super interested in reliability, we choose Java to power a bunch of our stack. So we have around 1,000 of our engineers that use Java in some way, shape, or form during their jobs. We use a lot of Java on the backend for distributed systems infrastructure. And we also do a lot of Android development as well. So deployments of open source solutions in our data centers include Kafka, Cassandra, Solr, Apache Zookeeper, and Hadoop. So we use a lot of Apache projects. We also use a lot of other projects which are in Java. So it's very important that for us running a lot of Java in our data centers, wanting to keep our products incredibly reliable for our clients, that we have a reliable JVM. Additionally, we have had this culture shift over the last 2 decades, which is the latter half of our corporate life. And that culture shift has been to move toward open source first. This means that we want to use open source wherever it's appropriate, and we want to use existing open source solutions and eventually customize them to our needs. And in addition to using open source where it's appropriate for our business, we'd like to contribute back features and fixes to the community where we can. We also publish a bunch of our own open source. You can find it in github.com/Bloomberg, but we also have contributors to many projects, including things like Solr and Cassandra. So when it comes to the JDK, we needed to standardize the JDK within the company. Of course, you've seen we've been open source first for a while, and therefore there was a strong preference for open source. We also needed a certified standard build of the JDK, right? So this means, for people that don't know, Oracle publishes a thing called the TCK, the Test Certification Kit. And that TCK is a battery of tests that runs against the JDK to make sure that the build is correct and that does all the things that a good JDK should do. And at Bloomberg, we needed a JDK that was certified. And we also wanted a standard build. We didn't want any additional bells and whistles, which some of the other JDK publishers provide. In 2018, Eclipse Temurin, then known as Adopt OpenJDK, came to the rescue. So if you don't know about Temurin, this is a product of the Eclipse Foundation. I'm grateful to occasionally contribute to Temurin projects as well. Temurin is an open source build of the JDK. It's great. They've got all the regular builds every quarter when there's updates released to the OpenJDK source code. Temurin builds them. And what's great for us is they build them for a broad OS and architecture range. So, whether you need it on your MacBook or you need it on your Linux server in the cloud or your Windows laptop, Temurin's got the build for every LTS and also the latest. It's also awesome because it's a standard build of the OpenJDK with no add-ons. If all you want is the OpenJDK, Temurin's for you. It is TCK certified. So as I mentioned, Oracle produces this suite of tests that's not available to the general public. Great news is Eclipse Foundation has them. Eclipse Foundation runs them against our builds. So we know that the Temurin JDK is in fact TCK certified. Additionally, the Eclipse Foundation has produced a thing called Aquavit, which is a further battery of tests that they run against their Temurin JDKs, and this increases our confidence that the JDK is of high quality and it's great. So this is why we love Temurin. It's got all the OSs and architectures we need, and it's got the TCK certification. It's plain OpenJDK, nothing special. And very importantly for our open source guidance corporate-wise, it's an OSI-approved license. And if you don't know about OSI-approved licenses, this OSI is the open source initiative, and they have a list of licenses that are good open source licenses, meaning that they don't have any special clauses that might get you in trouble if you start using that software. So we love OSI-approved licenses. So a thing I'd love to talk to you about as well, I don't know if you've noticed there's a whole compliance track over there. Some amazing talks at this conference have been given in the compliance track. Compliance is a big, big thing. For people that read the news, compliance in finance is a really big, big thing. And Temurin is a great start, because if you don't have a strong, secure JDK, then all your Java apps aren't running in a strong, secure foundation. So we love a strong, secure JDK. Temurin has a big commitment to compliance and security. They have been producing SBOMs since forever. They're one of the first people that produced SBOMs, software bill of materials, for a JDK. And even this week, we've had discussions about how to make that SBOM even better with people like Andrew back there, and Shelley, who's unfortunately on her way back to Canada. So the SBOMs are great, and the other thing that's super cutting edge is reproducible builds, which, again, Andrew is, I'm sure, happy to talk to you about. So reproducible builds for the JDK in the Temurin case mean that they're working on some software where you pass in that SBOM, which says where they downloaded from GitHub, the OpenJDK binaries, all the other tooling they used. And with that tooling, you can rebuild the JDK on your laptop, on your server, wherever you like, and it will be bit for bit identical to the one you download from the Temurin website. So that's super awesome for verifiability, because you've got all the source code, you can read all the source code, and if the binary that comes out at the end is exactly what you downloaded, then you can have confidence that what you downloaded has nothing in there that shouldn't be in there. And the other very important thing for a corporate entity like ours is that it's very important that we have timely releases of the JDK. And Temurin delivers quarter after quarter. Every quarter there's updates released to the JDK with important security updates and important feature releases. And very shortly after those are released, Temurin releases, and it releases for all the platforms and all the LTSs from 8 up to 25, as well as the latest. And at Bloomberg, we use everything from 8 up till 25 and the latest across many platforms, including developer laptops, in the cloud, on Kubernetes. So we're really grateful that Temurin releases all that stuff. And the open source advantage, right? So it's backed by the Eclipse Foundation. There's some really strong companies that participate to Temurin, but not one of them is kind of the owner, right? The Eclipse Foundation is the owner. So if companies come and go, we can have reasonable confidence that Temurin will keep being there and keep being awesome for us to use. And there's no vendor lock-in, which is super important. Additionally, as I mentioned, it's got an OSI license. So the license being super standard and OSI approved, there's nothing for us to worry about in terms of license terms and conditions, and we don't have to worry because the Eclipse Foundation governance is awesome about that license being shifted out from under our feet. So as I mentioned, we use it everywhere. We use it in data centers, we use it on Kubernetes, VMs, bare metal, build packs. We use it on laptops, Linux, Windows, Apple. So we use all the flavors of Temurin everywhere. We focus on LTS releases, right? If we have a team and they're choosing to write things in Java and they're choosing a Java version, we strongly encourage them to pick an LTS and to try to be on the latest LTS as often as possible, and if not, to not be too far behind. However, we also have teams that want to be on the cutting edge and try the brand new features as soon as they come out, and for that, we internally also support the latest version. So we package all of these and make them available to our teams. So since 2018, the only new JDK builds allowed at Bloomberg were OpenJDK, and with very, very few exceptions, which are all gone now, all of them were Temurin. So since 2018, we have been super, super loyal Temurin users. At first, teams were encouraged to upgrade. Afterwards, they were required to upgrade. And the way we did that is we ensured that older binaries were no longer available in any production environment, because if you can't use the binaries for older or other JDKs, you must use what's available. And we also made telemetry and dashboards that enabled us to track which of our systems use the JDK and what versions are prevalent. And that helps us chase people so that there are soon not going to be any people on 8. They're all going to be on 11 above and then 17 and above. And that's how we keep people upgrading and keep them on the latest and greatest. So in addition to Temurin, we use a lot of other tooling. And I think this is, if you're not familiar with this tooling, this is a tooling that makes Java and the JVM ecosystem great. JFR. I cannot say how much I love JFR. It's so awesome. So if you're running systems in production and you want to know what's going on, where are they allocating memory, where are they using CPU, what are the methods that are using the most time, run JFR. It's great. It's a built-in profiler. It's been part of the OpenJDK since Java 17. So if you're on any modern LTS, it's there. And it has very low overhead, so like 1 or 2%. So I really recommend, if you're trying to find your bottleneck or trying to understand where time or memory is being used in your program in production, run JFR. Get a profile, and then instead of optimizing by guessing where you could optimize, JFR lets you optimize exactly where the problem is. And the other thing that goes hand in hand with JFR is the JDK Mission Control. So this enables us to analyze the JFR recordings. It's a very pretty application that you can click around and click at the methods that are using the most CPU or the most memory. So when you use JFR, JDK Mission Control is a great way to analyze those recordings. There are also some other ways, including some IDEs have some proprietary built-in methods as well. And also the Eclipse memory analysis tool, that helps us understand heap dumps. Ideally, we don't want heap dumps, but when we get them or if we have to take them, the Eclipse MAT is a great way to actually make sense of them. So in addition to the JDK builds, the Temurin project also builds and supports this tooling, and we're very grateful for that as well. So around Bloomberg, we also use a ton of Jakarta EE stuff, as does anyone that uses any like mainstream Java libraries. A bunch of stuff has moved from Java X to Jakarta EE, so we're really grateful to the Eclipse Foundation for supporting that work. And RDF4J, we do a bunch of work with RDF4J to support semantic technologies and graph use cases. So again, thank you very much. In conclusion, we think Adoptium and Temurin is a great solution for our enterprise Java needs. If you've got data centers and you need a JDK, we think it's great. We use it. You should use it as well. And we're really grateful to the Eclipse Foundation for continuing this work and ensuring that there's a timely release of the LTSs and the latest JDK that we can use in production. Thank you very much.